Hello, everyone. So welcome again to Time for Emerging Markets. It was with the emerging markets. I'll be talking about Africa's youngest billionaire, Mohammed Dewji, who is the owner and president of MeTL Group. And I decided to pick this entrepreneur as a highlight for this episode because in relation to the book that we're reading now in our reading group, which you can join, I can include the link. I'll definitely include the link in this episode. We're reading the book The Next Factory of the World by Irene Sun, who is a former McKinsey employee, and she has spent a couple of years in Africa researching how Chinese investments reshaping Africa. And through that book, I think there's a lot of relationship with that and Mohammed, on how Mohammed's wealth came as a result of building local factories in Africa, boosting the manufacturing sector in Africa, specifically in Tanzania, where he's based at. And I think it's pretty outstanding that from what Irene Sun was talking about in the book, The Next Factory of the World, and how Africa can be the next manufacturing hub. I think Mo actually exemplifies that with his company MeTL Group, and in MeTL Group, when they do stuff like textile, which is one of the largest now, and he actually competes with most of the Chinese competitors in Tanzania from Mo's account. It shows that this is actually a very important way that wealth can be created in Africa, but most importantly, it has a very long-term approach, a sustainable approach on how we think of investment and entrepreneurship in Africa. And I think Mo exemplifies that through his work at MeTL Group, through the platform he's building there. And I think it's a very good example of how we can think of manufacturing as a good sector to get into Africa, as a good sector to also create long-term jobs, and also build local wealth, provide opportunities for the people for many people that are in the local communities compared to highly educated or that need mostly tertiary sector-oriented jobs. But I do think this is someone that is worth highlighting. First, he was able to recognize a lot of opportunities in Africa, granted from the fact that he took the business from his dad, but he was able to see the potential for growth, the significance of how we think of localizing manufacturing in Africa. He also invested the way he thought of building local products, and he has actually built some products that actually compete with Coca-Cola and most of these big brands, but have a local spin to it and creates that local affinity, which is critical. But most importantly, I think from his experience, and I suggest what Irene was saying in his book, The Next Factory of the World, how Chinese investments reshape in Africa. I think there's some common ground of someone who is actually living the example of what Irene Sun was trying to say in her book. And I do think that the main takeaway is that we should also focus on manufacturing as a way in which we advance the growth of Africa, how we build Africa, how we think of opportunities of entrepreneurship and investment, and also how we should think about long-term growth and prosperity on the continent. So Mo is someone to look into. He actually bought a football team in Tanzania, and he's also a politician. He has been a politician on the local politician in Tanzania as well, and he's someone that has touched seems like he has touched every part of Africa. So youngest billionaire as of 2016. He was a member of the Tanzania Parliament of Chama cha Mapinduzi from 2005 to 2015 for his hometown in Singida. And he's 45 years old as of now, a net worth of 1.6 billion US dollars. And he's the owner of MeTL Group, which is a Tanzanian conglomerate founded by his father in the 1970s. So pretty outstanding. He's positioned himself now as the 17th richest person in Africa and the continent's youngest billionaire. So he made the cover of Forbes. The book I also mentioned about, that talked about Africa's billionaires. He was also, referenced in that book. So he made that cover of Forbes Africa in 2013. So yeah, pretty inspiring guy. And he does some philanthropy work. He started the Mo Dewji Foundation, which, to address society's most pressing problems, from inviting he was part of the Giving Pledge with Bill and Melinda Gates to give more than half of his wealth either during his lifetime or after he passes away. So and through his foundation, he's trying to improve the clean water in Tanzania and many other projects that I think he's interested in kind of creating local well-being and prosperity. So Mo is our highlight of this episode, and I hope you check him out. You can just Google him, and there's a lot of interesting videos that talks about him, but it's someone I want to highlight on this episode. I'll send the links below for our reading group, which we're still reading the book, the next Factory of the World by Irene soon. But after the 15th, we're going to start reading the book, The New Harvest, Agricultural Innovations, by the late Callistus Juma, who was an outstanding professor at Harvard, and unfortunately passed away a few years ago. But he wrote this very interesting book of how technology, agricultural innovation can change agriculture in Africa. And I think it's a book worth checking out. It's a book joining us reading in our reading sessions. And I'll give a link of Mo's foundation as well as his company in the links below. Please, if you enjoy the content I'm sharing, please feel free to subscribe on my YouTube channel, because I share the videos of this, as you can see, as well as you can follow my podcast on Anchor, Spotify, and Google, and Apple Podcasts. And looking forward to hearing from you and getting your feedback. So thanks for following this podcast. I hope you love the content. Please feel free to send requests for things you'd love to hear. There'll be more guests coming on, more entrepreneurs, more investors that will be sharing their insights of what they're doing in emerging markets, frontier markets, and I'd love to share that with you as the episodes roll out. So thank you so much. Hope you're having a great week. Please stay safe and be well. Bye.